When I was a kid, listening to rodeo announcers, I never heard anything like when I heard you.
They accepted me as their choice of a voice that represented their entire livelihood.
In a different way.
Totally different.
But they accepted it because they liked it, because they were looking for something different. You were the change maker right there.
Living life, living right. If you want to ride with me, you better hold on tight. All right. Forecast is calling for wild rides. The forecast is calling for the wild rides.
Hey everybody, on Winning Ways with Joe B today, we're going to go to the source. We got the GOAT, greatest of all times, Bob Tallman and I. We're going to talk rodeo changes and what we think about it. Stay tuned. When people think of rodeo and the way it is today, people go to a rodeo and they hear the announcers, the way the announcer sells rodeo and sells what everybody's watching. There's a reason for that. And that reason is Bob Tallman, the way Bob Tallman changed rodeo announcing forever.
The thing with people understanding, you have to include them before the performance starts.
Mm-hmm.
And reach out and touch them. A lot of guys say, I'm not going to talk until it's time to say hello, good afternoon, good evening, welcome to whatever. Being a kid that was raised in a buckaroo camp ranch atmosphere in northern Nevada, my dad was a wild horse racer, and when I started in rodeo, roping calves and team roping, and all I wanted to be was a bull rider, because I always figured the old adage,
Yep.
girls will follow a bull rider around long before they'll follow a calf roper around.
Yeah. You can fall off and bull ride and catch them. You got to win to catch them to get them.
And so I knew that when I kind of first started, I had to be different. I had Cy Italian, Mel Lambert, Smokey Bogus, Clem McSpadden, great hero of mine. And they had a standard set way of how they dealt with it. Cy Italian would walk into the Cow Palace and lay his hat down, and I'd see him with his gray hair. Start with, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Grand National Rodeo. Welcome to the Cow Palace in San Francisco. First time I ever saw him do that, I was 12 years old. So all throughout high school, I worked in and around a man named Vern Ryan. And I roped with him, rode his horses in the calf roping, team roped with him. And I used to put his speakers up on announcer stands at amateur rodeos, Idaho, Nevada, California. And I hated it because they were big and heavy and had to come old rickety deals. So I didn't really pay any attention, but subconsciously you absorb that.
Sure you did.
So I knew I had to be different. 1969, Kristen and I got married 50 plus years ago. We started off in my old Ford truck going down the road with an 8-track cartridge tape. And I had Marty Robbins and whoever else, and we'd track those, we'd set those deals for the music.
Yep.
Because they'd used a 45 record player, and the horses would hit the chutes and bang them and knock the record player off. And so I started it with choreography long before I started it with captioning of how you deliver the message. Well, I knew all those people because I'd rodeoed around them and the amateurs for a long time. So I just went and started telling stories about my friends. And 55 years later, I'm still getting paid to tell stories about my friends.
But I think the unique thing about it and what makes you so different is for 55 years, you've changed with the way rodeo has changed.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and I always look at Walt Woodard, to me, he won a championship in the 80s, come back in the 2000.
21 years later.
That's changing,
Yes.
All I knew of pro rodeo in the national finals, the first year I went, was I didn't know how in the world I could be stepped up so much by one man talking to me. Like you just said, you talk about them, but you talk to the people.
yeah.
It made the fan base feel a little bit more personal.
It's interesting how you say that. One of my favorite quotes that Boyd Polhamus talks about, he and I standing side by side and you were roping calves, was in a low tone. People hear low tones. Abrasive high tones and high pitch hits them and bounces off. Low tones, they accept, it goes in, and they take it to their heart. And you roped this calf and stepped up and it got real quiet for a minute, I think after whatever we did.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Joe, you ought to keep this up. You might make a living doing
Yeah.
this someday. You're
Yeah.
doing good. Well,
But that stuff is what, and Cody and I talked about this on the show. That's the kind of thing that I think builds a person
oh yeah.
or creams them. Because you knew though the ones that could take it, and you made us better. We could do things when you were announcing. I have won more at Houston than any other building there, and that's the hardest rodeo to win at to the Winter Rodeos,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it is.
But you were never satisfied unless I was giving you what you expected me to give you to sell to the fans. I'd ride in there, it'd be taking too long, whatever. Quit thinking about it. You got to think about it. And
You
that
got to
just
thinking
changed
about
me.
it. Yeah. No muscle reflex.
Yep.
This isn't rehearsed. It's in your heart, your body, your soul. Your horse is ready. Back in there. You only got 3 things to check. The line, the calf standing, and
Your
your
horse. And you
position.
nod your head, yeah.
And you'd get in there and then you'd choke him a little and he'd want to take a bit. And I did that to you 100 times, I'm sure, over the
But
years.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I think you changed so much. Because when I was a kid, listening to rodeo announcers, I never heard anything like when I heard you. And then Boyd had come along after you, and then Andy's come along, and Anthony. I mean, all these. But I'm telling you, it all has to start somewhere, and it started right here.
They accepted me as their choice of a voice that represented their entire livelihood.
In a different way,
Totally different.
but they accepted it because they liked it, because they were looking for something different. You were the change maker right there.
I'm getting ready to write a book,
Are you?
and you will be a part of it, and I'm sure that you will have some inserts in it. I want to do it for the World Rodeo and the Western lifestyle thing. But in those days, we all built blocks. We weren't as busy.
Right.
We didn't
That's
have
right.
social media. We didn't have a cell phone.
That's right.
We didn't have 5 other jobs.
Yep.
We didn't have other involvements. Fred one time said to me, I said, Fred, anything you want me to tell him about you? He said, no, I trust you.
I'll never forget you told me one time when I first started doing TV, and my dad had said kind of the same thing a different way, but you said, hey, let me remind you of one thing, Joe Boyd. And I said, what's that? He said, they're seeing what you're seeing, but you better tell them what they're watching.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that, because that hit home with me about, the camera's showing the same thing I'm seeing, but if I can't tell them what they're watching,
Give them the feel.
I'm not going to hook them in my.
Tell them how good it tastes.
Yeah.
Painting a picture of what's happening rather than talking about the picture is more important. So what you're going to do, guy makes a run on the calf rope. Guy rides one in the bareback ride. Some guy rides one in the bull ride. All you're going to do is put the color to it.
Right.
I learned from other guys, football players, Jay Novacek, Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And what they did in their world of football and then came into our world of rodeo or the bull riding, they saw it different than we saw it. I can remember talking to Terry Bradshaw one time, and he says, can you imagine the core of that guy? I said, no, to make those kind of moves. On Bodacious, on another bull that could turn inside of himself, weigh 2,200 pounds, and jump in the air.
Yeah, people don't realize when they're kicking over the chute and they weigh 2,000 pounds, what that takes.
9
But
Gs.
that's your job. That's what you did so good, is bring them in to notice that.
You got to pay attention. When you see the 4 red lights come on that camera, step up.
Step up. Hey everybody, Joe Beaver here. We're promoting Hart Trailers. We're talking about the product. Let's just get into it. From the first weld to the last inspection, we as Hart have done all we can do to guarantee you've got the best trailer your money can buy. They pull good. I don't have any trouble with them. They are user friendly. I want you to know that if you have a doubt one, don't buy it, because there's somebody else that's going to buy it right behind you.
Keith Maddox was a huge inspiration in my life. He was probably the most positive person that I ever met. When we were ever faced with a challenge and anything, he would say, Don't worry about it, ain't nothing but a thing. We're wanting to keep his memory and his legacy alive, so that's what that stands for, positive times. We choose to look at everything that we do through a positive lens, not a negative lens.
We're more than a store. We're more than a brand. We are the lifestyle. We are all things Western. NRS.
My name is Amberley Snyder. I am a barrel racer and motivational speaker. Hart put together a trailer that is extremely accessible to me, that makes it possible for me to have more independence with my horses. I mean, truly something that is life-changing for me. If I'm gonna load my horse in a trailer, if I'm gonna take my horse somewhere, if I'm gonna put my best friend in a situation, they deserve the best. That's why I pull a Hart trailer.
Back to the competition. The competition is no different today than it was then. The horses bucked
Right,
then.
right.
The calves were bigger.
It was
You
all
rope.
a different deal with same competition.
Yeah.
It's about trying to win.
Y'all roped
That's
with the
right.
grass rope.
Yep.
Okay. The team roping was all in California.
Mm-hmm.
Then it moved to Texas. You have to move with what moves the sport.
That's what I'm saying. I think is so neat, unique with you. It's 50 years you've been moving with the sport. You know what I mean? You got to realize how special you are in your chosen field, because for 50 years you've been doing this. It's not like it was, yesterday.
I've had so many great people give me a chance. And
End of the day, isn't that all we all want?
yeah, just give me a chance.
Give us a chance.
Show me the door. I'll figure out how to open it.
Yep.
Never let a closed door slow you down. I'm not saying go up and rip the handle off or tear it off the hinges. Never let an opportunity go besides. I'm 75 years old.
Yep.
I've got a lot of life left in me, but I've only got so many more travel agent days.
Yes, I know that's the hard
And
days.
that's what you and I fight.
Yep.
We've been, for the last 3 weeks, visiting, getting ready to come here today.
Trying to find a day we both could get.
Yeah. How we've learned that system of how to get by in a rent car, an airport, an airplane, a private plane, driving, motorhomes, trucks, trains, and trailers.
Yep.
And in between, taking off, going to Australia 3 times.
Yep.
Taking off and going to Mexico. Taking off and going to Argentina. Taking off and going to Alaska and Hawaii. You have to look how you adjudicate your time to the special interest events. How many of those have we been to?
A lot. But they all add up to something you need that you built to get there.
The sphere at the end of the year.
Yeah, we built that. I think one of the big deals of trust, you were talking about trust a while ago and about how you had people help you. You know as well as I do, from the first time I backed in the box at the finals, though, I fed off of whatever it was good or bad you were laying at me. Buddy, I think it all goes back to the trust and respect. I knew you pretty good from hanging out that winter sun with Roy and them, but I flew into Lubbock, Texas. I got a pocket full of money. I got a credit card. I don't think there's no way in the world they won't rent me a car because I was 19. So I'm sitting in there with no cell phones, back there. I'm dialing, trying to figure out who I'm going to get, what am I? And you walked through the airport and said, "Hey, kid, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm stuck." And I told you my problem. And you said, "I'm going to Snyder to do the AJRA finals. Come on." And I said, "No, Snyder's Lovington." He said, "Well, can't you drive?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I can drive." And he said, "Well, then you'll take my car at night." And I think when I left Snyder, Texas, after we'd been together that 4 or 5 days that week, and I was 19, when that was the AJRA finals, they were 19 under, so perfect for me to hang out. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. But when I left there that week, I think that bond that you welded in and that appreciation I had of you and with somebody I respected so much, did you ever think that
Would develop into the friendship we've had?
for 40 years?
I did, because I became a Joe B fan before you were Joe B.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And
That's true. We were
I was a
before,
fan of the guy. I mean, you could rope like nobody else. And Roy, sheepishly at times, would tell me, watch him. Jimmy Powers, you made a run, might have been at the NFR. one night, and I just kind of like sloughed by it or didn't say a whole lot.
Yeah.
Next day, Jimmy Powers said, pay attention to Joe. Pay attention to Joe. Jimmy Powers coached me. And I said, what are you talking about? Pay attention. He said, watching 2 runs before of what he's doing back there. In those days, it was a cluster.
Yes, it was.
Tight little
down the side, inside the arena, the moat.
And he said, watch him, because if he's back there going like this, cha-chung, 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 going like this, cha-chung, cha-chung, he said, quiet him, because what you were doing is you were already overselling yourself to 2 runs ahead.
4 lights weren't on yet.
No.
4 lights. Cody Old, best in the world for waiting for 4 lights. The best in the world of anybody I've ever seen in either end. He would hit like you 4 lights.
Pound for
Partner,
pound.
he turns it on right then for right in the box.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about Cody O, but I want to tell you something. He was one of those kids that came to me as a kid.
Yeah, same thing. After the HRA years,
Yeah.
he didn't go to those, but the youth deal, you kind of ran into him same as me early on.
Okay, let's back up to that.
Yep.
1981, I went to the HRA finals in Snyder, Texas. My dear friend Ralph Miller is 92 years old right now, came and hired me in Colorado Springs when I was on the board of directors. I went to Snyder, Texas, Scurry County, and started the HRA thing, okay? Here,
In 81,
81. How old were you?
I
in
had
81?
Kobe out there 2 years ago, and you
Yeah.
were there when I
Yeah.
took Kobe out.
Yep.
Right, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and now
Yes.
it's Sweetwater.
It's Sweetwater, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. How old were you in 1981?
16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tough.
Yeah.
Cody Lambert.
Yeah, all the
Carrillo's,
crews. Yes.
All of you kids and everybody else.
Yeah.
I had a jump on the rest of the world in the junior rodeo competition.
Because you saw early on.
I saw early on they'd come and they were making a hand. And one day they'd have a great day, and the next day a little bubble butts couldn't ride a team roping steer.
Yep.
And I watched you guys rope. You had good horses in those days.
Yeah. You have no idea how talented Tough Hedeman was
Oh.
riding, because he wasn't the bull rider guy.
No.
But early, when I first met Tough, early
Hart.
on, and would not turn loose and would ride him through the whistle. And,
Yeah.
and it was fun to watch. You know what I mean? As an early age.
All
he
them
was one
Hedeman
of
kids
mine.
could rope too.
It was the
Raised on
I
a
think you're
racetrack
right.
in El Paso.
The young bringing them up, what you got to see,
Yeah.
is what made it maybe such a special bond with all of us.
Well, it made me a Tough Hedeman fan when he was 14.
Now,
And then you watch them evolve, and some go away,
yep,
and then some come back.
that's exactly right. They
Okay.
do. They dang sure
What's
do.
it like? What's it like today, as we're talking about this evolution of 40 years that we've lived together through? What's it like today to be Joe Beaver?
It's good. It's really good. I never thought maybe that I would be where I am now, in the way I am with the clinics. I've done clinics
That's what I championed
30
on today,
years.
is your involvement with the youth.
I keep them, I try to keep, I started the junior opens because of Barry Burke. He was the only junior open back, in my boy Brady Helms, remember him that
Yep.
we lost, and Brady and Cody's young days. That was the only junior open, and I started having junior opens. My clinics have gone 35 years now. I do a lot of TV. Jeff Meadows
Yeah.
has given me a great chance, back a long time to do. And
Only because you do a good job.
well, I hope so. I mean, I that's the one thing I try to do is do it as good as you can do it. But like you always said, don't overdo it. But I never dreamed my life would be where it was today, as many ups and downs as, I'll be real honest. My life was going really good when I lost Brody. I was through rodeoing. Don Imus, my great friend, gone now. He was the one that really pushed me towards the TV and you got a unique voice, use it. They recognize it. It doesn't sound like a lot of people's. Don't change it. Do this, blah, blah. And I had it going really good, I thought. And when Brody died, and I talked to you, I know, right after that. And, if it wasn't for the Cody O's turning out and flying in, JD Tadlock staying for 2 or 3 weeks, my guys that just, if it wasn't for all that, I was very tempted to let it all go back the other way, because I thought, why am I doing, and that's when you got to stop and look and know I've been too lucky, too blessed, had too much, try to carry on from this day on and make better. And actually my life is, as good as it can be with losses like that.
Yep.
But it's good. It's really good. And I think it's all because of what I got to see and learn from the Bobby Browns, from the
Yep.
Phil Lyons, from the Bob Tallmans, from the Clement Spaddens, from the Larry Mahans. I think all of that I got to watch coming up, and I wanted at young age. I've told you, I thought the next year, I didn't even know I wasn't in the top 20 till my dad told me in August. I thought I was the invite to the finals. But I think all of that has made me what I am today, whatever it is, good or bad. But I'm okay with looking in the mirror every morning and not ducking.
Hi, my name's Donna Kay Rule. I've been barrel racing closer to 50 years than 40, for sure. Hart has been in business since 1968, and they have never been known to shortcut anything. There's well thought out things, the head bumper where they back out, sometimes horses will throw their head up, comes with every trailer. Those kinds of specifics make a difference. So you should definitely go check out Hart Trailers. It's sure worth a look.
Boy Toys. DTE.
From the moment you wake up in the morning, the steps you take determine the trajectory of your life. Where you'll go, the lives you'll impact, the legacy you'll leave. No matter how far you want to go, we'll be there to walk it with you. First International Bank and Trust, helping you live first every step of the way.
What would we have done different? And people ask me that. I know they ask you that. And we can ask each other that. The thing is, I'd like to do it over again, slower.
Enjoy it more.
Yeah, because I know.
We went through it hard and fast.
Yeah, it wasn't a sudden stops. It was a skid marks.
Yeah.
And I know there's somebody out there that both of us, we didn't lose a friendship, but we didn't nurture it while we were there. And I'm big on old people and kids because I am one and I used to be one.
That's right. That's right. That's a big,
Today, I still think the shoe shine guys, the guys cleaning the bathroom in the Coliseum, or somebody driving a forklift with a garbage can behind the scenes at the rodeo, thank those people. Because without all of those people, we don't get to see the spotlight.
There's a lot goes on before it cracks open. And like Vegas, people have no idea what y'all go through. I mean, I didn't even know. I'd been to the finals, I don't know how many times, but until we all start staying on that same suite level and we all started hanging out at nights and stuff, I had no idea all the prep. It's just what made you so different. You took what was already there, you rearranged it, you remodeled it, you repainted it to fit what you thought would sell, and now that's what they're doing with you. The young guys they're doing rodeo like Bob Tallman. Whether you want to think it or not, they are trying to be, they're not trying to be you, but they're doing it in their own way that's Bob Tallman style.
That's fine.
That's got to be such a pleasing look for you to know that you really did all that. It's just like I tell everybody about Jeff Metters. I don't want his job.
He is so settled.
And he sells what he sells, and you can feel him backing out, and that's when he wants, that's when we step up, when we feel him. But it's such a know of your position, and there's so many of them young guys that are trying to get to that position now and announcing that it all goes back to you. You see that, but you never backed off. That's how you got to where you are.
One of his producers, Carly Peterson and Jeff Metters, can get more out of me in less time than anybody I've ever been interviewed by. I walk in and go, okay, where are we going? They've already got it programmed.
Yeah.
And they know how to lean up to you when it's time for you to quit. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just sit back and let you go. It's not interruption, it's knowing when to quit.
But you know what you told me one time? Life is to be lived and live it like you want to, because when you wake up, it's there.
if you're going to snap your fingers, be ready to dance.
Yes.
And when you hear the music, be prepared to sing.
The best I've ever heard, 4 red lights, you get the best of Bob Tallman. 2 red lights, he's going to rest it easy. So if you want the best of this man, you better shoot 4 red lights and then hang on, because there's no other ride like a ride with the GOAT, Bob Tallman, my dear friend and the greatest that's ever picked up a mic.
Love you, Joe B.